Supervisors Droll, Zimmer, Klein, Metzger, if you could mark yourself present, please. And I will call this meeting of the Manitowoc County Board to order. We will start with invocation by Supervisor Niles, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this new year. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group as we strive for our common goal of giving our neighbors in Manitowoc County the best government we can offer. Amen. Allegiance to the flag, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call is going around. We have 21 members present. First item of action, 22 members present, sorry. First would be approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Looking for a motion. Motion by Supervisor Heller, second by Supervisor Hanson. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the minutes are approved. We have no additions to the agenda. That will take us into our reports. First, we have a proclamation honoring Jerome Vetting for his years of service on the Expo Board. So if anybody is here to accept that proclamation, you can join me at the podium at this time. Whereas, Jerome Vetting was appointed to the Manitowoc Expo Incorporated Board in 1997 as a representative of District 10 of the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors. And whereas, between the years 1998 to 2005, Jerome Vetting served as an officer of the Expo Incorporated Board in many different posts, including Director, Vice President, and Chairman. Whereas, Jerome Vetting was an integral part of Expo activities and events, including the annual Manitowoc County Fair, where he introduced and implemented the one-price admission system and the redesign of the Expo grounds. And whereas, in 2005, Manitowoc County took over management and operation of the Manitowoc County Expo and reconstituted the Expo Board into the Manitowoc County Expo Ice Center Board. And whereas Jerome Vetting continued to serve on the Expo Ice Center Board from 2005 through 2023, serving as chairperson of the board in 2005 through 2023, lending his time, knowledge, and expertise to this new board. And whereas Jerome Vetting was honored in 2013 with an appreciation plaque for his years of service and dedication to the Manitowoc County Expo and Ice Center and the betterment of the citizens of Manitowoc County. And whereas Jerome Vetting has served selflessly and with great enthusiasm for the Manitowoc County Expo County Fair for 26 years. And now, therefore, be it resolved that Manitowoc County Executive Bob Ziegelbauer and Manitowoc County Board Chair Tyler Martell and the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors hereby recognize and thank Jerome Vetting for his many years of service and sound advice as a member of the Manitowoc County Expo Ice Center Board. Would you like to say something?
Thank you. I'm receiving this in behalf of Jerry, who couldn't be here this evening. Manitowoc County Expo Ice Center Board have appreciated all the hard work and dedication and certainly will miss Jerry in the future. Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation from our Area Extension Director, Jana Hintz, at the UW Extension. So I'll invite you up to the podium.
So, good evening and thank you for giving us time during today's board meeting to share with you the impact UW Extension is having in Manitowoc County. My name is Jana Hintz, and I'm the Area Extension Director for Area 12, which consists of Calumet, Manitowoc, and Sheboygan counties. So I am proud to be standing here today before you with an outstanding team that serves Manitowoc County. So part of our team consists of Kendra Mahuna, an administrative assistant, Jerry Lynn Zutz, administrative assistant, Katrina Pionic, 4-H program educator, Angie Allness, agricultural educator, Kath Teasy, health and well-being educator, Laura Applebeck, Foodwise Nutrition Program Coordinator, Jace Purdy, Foodwise Nutrition Educator, and Christina Yang, Foodwise Nutrition Educator. And shortly you'll hear from a few of our educators on what they're doing here in the county. But we would not be able to do what we do without our community partners. So I started working with the Manitowoc County Extension team on May 8th. And since that day, I have listened and learned about the research, knowledge, and passion each educator brings to their work. I have also heard from them the high value and respect they have for their community partners and how their partners are critical to the success and in their role with their educational programs and the reach within the community. This evening, you'll hear from the extension educators and the impact their work has had on Manitowoc County. I will now turn over the presentation to Angie Allness, our agriculture educator.
Hello, everyone. Like Jana introduced, my name is Angie Allness. I'm the agricultural educator located in Valders, Wisconsin. I'm also a dairy farmer with my husband Mark and our 4 children, where we milk 76 registered Holsteins and we have young stock. So we've been resilient through this cold weather. I'm proud to represent the 148 licensed dairy farmers in Manitowoc County and all the landowners. We together produce 195 million gallons of milk each year, or 168 million pounds of cheese each year. So I thank you as County Board Supervisors, Bob Ziegelbauer, and Chairman Martell for the support of agricultural education in Manitowoc County. My main focus is to deliver and develop programming surrounding research findings to keep farmers and landowners more economically viable and also sustainable as we move into the ever-changing future. I put on my slide that we provide timely research to help dairy farmers innovate with all the technology. As you know, many of the public consumers are 3 generations removed from agriculture. Way back, their parents, great-grandparents, or great-great-grandparents were on farms. So I strive to educate the public with interactive radio interviews every week, also articles, and also in-person meetings. So I'm really thankful for all of your support and the impact that Extension is making on this county agricultural.
Hi, I'm Katrina Pionic, the 4-H program educator, and I've been in my role for about a year and a half. Currently, Manitowoc County 4-H has 19 chartered clubs with 40 approved volunteers, with about 40 more of them going through approval process. And those 40 volunteers are helping the 340 youth members that we currently have. Membership is open all year for 4-H members, so we typically see members joining throughout the next few months. There has been a decline in 4-H membership over the years, and then COVID hit, so that really kind of hurt membership. But the last 2 years, it's good to say, we're seeing that increase go back up in the youth joining 4-H. 4-H does focus on positive youth development through hands-on learning. Our biggest celebration, where we get to see a lot of those 4-H accomplishments, is at the county fair. However, they're busy all year learning the different skills that they need to, you want to say, survive in life and those life skills. So the next couple of slides here, you are going to see youth taking part in leadership workshops, project days, winter and summer camps, fundraiser, recreational activities, demonstrations, club visits, STEM and food workshops, judging competitions, going to Washington, D.C., or traveling on the American Spirit trip. Last year, I did start a Clover Bud Club for our youngest members, which is kindergarten to second graders. And this has been a great way for us to introduce, especially new families, into the 4-H world, since there's so much to offer. Last year, I probably had about 15 members. This year, I have about 30. So it is great to see the new membership growing in that with those young members. Another big focus of mine has been reaching youth in the urban area. So I have started programming at the Manitowoc Boys and Girls Club, and we've created a club within the Boys and Girls Club for 4-H. So really what I'm doing is bringing 4-H to them instead of them having to come to 4-H, and kind of reduce that barrier that they may not have somebody to bring them to a 4-H meeting. I'm coming to them and doing the meeting with them while they're at the club. So that has been a great experience, and hoping to, increase membership that way also.
Howdy everyone. My name is Jace. I'm a nutrition educator for a program called FoodWise. FoodWise is a statewide nutrition education program through Extension. We are federally funded through SNAP dollars, and we serve Wisconsin residents with limited incomes. So we do that for a lot of different reasons. 1 in 6 Wisconsin adults do not eat the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables, so I hope you're all eating your vegetables tonight. 50% don't hit physical activity levels. This leads to long-term things like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, all the bad stuff. And 21% of annual medical spending is on obesity-related illnesses, so FoodWise kind of tries to tackle some of those. We do that in a lot of different ways, through exposure, so we'll work with school children, introducing new, through a program called Harvest of the Month, which focuses on Wisconsin-grown fruits and vegetables. We'll teach folks, so like tomorrow, I will be teaching a crock-pot cooking class with one of our sober living communities. We empower, we will help folks figure out the best resources available to them, and then support. So we will chip in on things like the County Health Improvement Plan, work with a variety of different partners, and we will do that in either direct education or policy systems and environmental changes, which I would like to highlight one big one that we did over this last year. In the handouts for you guys, there's one labeled FoodWise at the top, and on the back there's a little paragraph titled Multi-Level Program Efforts. And I just really want to highlight the group of 4-H'ers that FoodWise worked with. They received national recognition for a gleaning project that we started here in Manitowoc. And through their efforts, we were able to glean over 1.5 tons of produce from the farmer's market. And then that was redistributed down at Southfield Townhomes and helped feed over 400 people over the course of the summer. So that is what I have.
So Kath Teasy, who is our health and well-being educator, is sick, and so she's not able to be here tonight. Seems a little bit odd, health and well-being, but no, she's been sick for a while, and she asked if I would cover her presentation for her. So by creating resilient communities and those who live in them, we strive to prevent substance misuse and other unhealthy coping mechanisms. So our goal is to help individuals and communities address the consequences caused by substance abuse disorders and create a community that supports the treatment of mental health and substance abuse and misuse. So when Kath was hired in 2019, the county executive requested the health and well-being position focus on opioid-related outcomes because data reported by Manitowoc County Public Health stated 89% of Manitowoc County overdoses involved opioids. So since that time, our community has built a recovery-oriented community. We now have resources, including drug court, numerous sober living homes, alcohol and drug treatment options, and the Lighthouse Recovery Community Center. So Kath's position as a part-time health and well-being educator is a vital resource serving the recovery-oriented community model. So Kath is a member of the Healthiest Manitowoc County, a coalition comprised of stakeholders tasked with reviewing the community health assessment data, considering root causes, and identifying best practices to address Manitowoc County health ranking. So that's 52 out of 72 counties is the ranking right now for Manitowoc. So Kath participated in several work groups focused on mental health and substance use prevention. And part of her work helps train everyday people throughout Manitowoc County in suicide prevention. So she brings a literacy program also into the jail for justice-involved parents. And she also teaches several mental health programs throughout the county, including senior centers, recovering houses, and schools. So it is important to consider how trauma, undiagnosed mental health challenges, lack of connection, and stress from lack of education, employment, and safe, stable housing feed into the drug problem we face here in Manitowoc County. So programs and policies work together to build a healthier Manitowoc County, and Kath is proud to be part of the solution as a health and well-being educator. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time tonight. I am so very happy to be here, and I am so proud of the team here in Manitowoc County. If you have any questions for us, we are always available. Feel free to stop by our office, call us, email us. We're here to answer questions and help you with anything that you want to inquire about.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to have a presentation by our Personnel Director, Chris Eisenschink, on the county's health insurance plan. Are you all set?
Everybody, thank you for your attention. Apparently some questions had come up during the budget process about our health insurance plan, so Supervisor Marsh had requested I do a presentation regarding some of the details. I'll try to keep this brief, but I think I have a lot of information to share that demonstrates for you how we try to keep this benefit comprehensive and affordable to our employees. So first of all, why self-funded? Manitowoc County's health plan is self-funded, meaning that we pay a third-party administrator to process our claims, to process our health insurance contract, but we as a county take on the financial responsibility of funding those claims and paying those claims. We do not pay an insurance company to take that risk. We assume that risk. So there's some advantages to that, including lower fees to administer the plan. We have less profit that we're giving to that insurance company, and mostly it's plan control, and that allows us to, evaluate our plan annually, engage in care management options, which in the long run lead to greater premium stability. So those are the reasons why we self-fund. So I'm just going to start with some real basics about our health plan. We have a total of 404 employees enrolled in our health plan. That is about 78% of our employees. 95 of those are in our general plan, and 5% are in what we call our protective plan. The protective plan is a very specific plan covering a few people with the powers of arrest. It has a higher deductible. lower premium than our general plan. So when I talk about deductible and premium today, I'm going to be talking about the general plan. When I talk about some of the programs that we have in our plan, I'll be talking about both plans because those programs do cover both plans. Some of the changes that happened through the budget process, which brought me here, one is there was a 5% increase in health insurance premium rates. That was for both plan years 2023 and 2024. But before those increases, we were able to maintain our premiums for our employees since 2015, which is actually quite remarkable. The premium increases, as you can see in the chart below, resulted in an out-of-pocket increase to employees from about $1.30 a month to about $9 a month was the net impact of the increase for 2024. So how does Manitowoc County's plan compare? The complete comparison I do have printed out in your small handout just because I know this is kind of hard to read on the screen. But even with the recent increases, our employee costs are better than neighboring public sector employers. You can see from that chart that as a percentage of premium, the county is very competitive in its employee rates. The majority of our comparisons, as you can see on that chart, charge at least 12%, and we are at 9%. Another change that happened through the budget process was an increase in deductible. Our family deductible increased to $6,000. Our single deductible increased to $3,000. As you're looking at that family deductible, it's important to note that has an embedded $3,200 deductible, which basically means any single person on a family plan, once they hit that $3,200, they're going into copay. So basically their part of that family deductible is met. That's what that embedded deductible means. Once again, how do we compare? We have a broker who did a comparison of public sector employers that offer a high deductible health plan. This slide is also in your smaller handout because I realize it's hard to read. And once again, even with those deductible changes for 2024, Manitowoc County's health plan is still competitive compared to these other public sector employers. You can see outlined in orange that versus the 60 Wisconsin public sector employers that were included in this comparison, we are just slightly higher, and we are actually lower than the 16 Northeast Wisconsin public sector employers in regards to deductible that offer a high deductible health plan. Just as a side note, these high deductible health plans give employees the opportunity to participate in a health savings account, which, if you're not familiar with them, is just a great tax saving opportunity for employees to put money away. It's tax-free going in. If they are lucky enough to have an account that provides any return on investment, those returns are tax-free, and it's tax-free coming out. So we do offer that to our employees, and we have about 53% of the people on our health insurance plan taking advantage of those tax savings plans. So plan programs. Manitowoc County has added many programs to their health insurance plans since we went self-funded in 2012. The programs focus a lot on providing employees with high-quality providers while saving the health plan money by focusing on high-quality, low-cost providers. So our health plan is not standing still. We have many partners that evaluate health insurance and prescription drug trends and recommend programs to the county as they become available. You know, we evaluate those programs and select ones that are least disruptive to our members but still provide savings to the health plan. You have a list of the programs in that smaller handout that talks a little bit more about what all of these programs do. I'm just going to highlight just a few of these programs. One of our programs is called Novo. The Novo program bills the county at a bundled rate for services, and some of these services are listed here for you. So the bundled rate includes start to finish of a procedure, including any physical therapies. So that ends up saving the health plan money, and part of the Novo plan actually shares that savings with the employee. Just as an example, a meniscus repair is the example that I used here. The average Wisconsin pricing is $19,000. The bundled rate that we get charged through the Novo program is just over $9,000. So the county is saving $10,000 in charges through that bundle, and we provide the employee for using this Novo service an incentive of $750. So we're sharing that with them, incentivizing them to use these lower cost providers. Another program we offer is Teledoc. This is very common these days. This is just a virtual visit with a doctor who can actually prescribe drugs also. This program allows employees to access care for these routine issues anytime, anywhere, conveniently. They're not hauling their kids to the clinic when they have an ear infection. And in addition to the just plain convenience of Teledoc, it's so much cheaper. There's a $49 charge for a Teledoc visit versus what would be 2 or probably 3 times that if they went to a physical clinic. So this program really focuses on employees' convenience and them getting the right care at the right time. The next plan I want to talk about or program is Focus Health. Focus Health, the focus of this program is to drive employees to our high-cost providers, So what this is basically, we have a broad PPO network that has a lot of providers in it. This Focus Health plan narrows these down for 3 very specific services, which is inpatient hospital, outpatient surgeries, and MRIs. So for those procedures, there's actually a network within our network that's called a preferred plus tier of providers. If an employee does not go to a preferred plus tier provider, there's a fee. So this is discouraging people from not using these providers. It's a $2,000 fee for inpatient hospital, outpatient surgery, and a $300 fee if they don't use a preferred plus for MRIs. Another program we just rolled out in 2023 is incentives for preventative care. This is really meant to bring focus to the importance of preventative care, not only for the health plan, but for just an employee's overall wellness. It's been proven that if things are caught earlier, there's a better result physically for the employee, also limited cost of the high claims. So providing incentives to employees, while I'm never one to say someone is going to go get their preventative services for $75, it starts a conversation. So the person next to them is like, I got my preventative incentive, and they're thinking, I should really get my preventative exam. So it's been a very popular program. We've had about 45% of our employees get some sort of incentive in 2023, so very popular program. It gets the conversation started about the importance of preventative services. So the big one I want to talk about today is HealthJoy. We rolled out HealthJoy in 2023, and this is a mobile app that goes on an employee's phone and contains all of their specific benefits. It includes benefit cards, and importantly, an option for employees to talk directly with HealthJoy with medical questions. The unique thing about HealthJoy is all these programs I talked about, HealthJoy has all the information on these programs. So when someone is texting them about a sore knee, they know about Novo, they know about Focus Health, and they're going to refer them to these high-quality, low-cost providers, saving the plan money. So through 2023, HealthJoy has saved the county over $227,000 in the health plan, and that's just year 1. We have expanded HealthJoy and included additional Teledoc and mental health services for 2024, so we're really excited about rolling that out and encouraging people to use HealthJoy. So that $227,000 This chart is hard to read, so I apologize for that, but the top line is provider referrals. That is where the majority of our savings comes from with the HealthJoy app. And once again, that's because HealthJoy has the information on all those cost-saving programs that I talked about and is engaging with employees, referring them to those providers. The second line down, though, is important too, because what HealthJoy can do for employees is do what they call a medication review, take a look at the prescription drugs they're on and find the best place at the lowest cost for them to get those prescription drugs filled. So that purple line, that second line, that's real savings for employees where they are not paying as much as the pharmacy. Once their deductible is met, of course, the county is saving money too, but that is directly impacting our employees. Okay, next, I just want to touch on the plan financials. As I mentioned, we fund for claims. We pay claims. So what you're looking at here, and this is also in your smaller handout, just because it is small print, you're seeing the funding, the payment of the claims, the payment of the administration fees, and then the bottom line is the balance of that fund. You can see from 2016 forward, we had some real good years, but high-cost claims are inevitable in any health plan, and we have had the impact of high-cost claims the last few years. As you can see, we've been in the red the last few years. So that's why we need to take a look at these programs, make sure we're engaging our employees in these programs, and make adjustments as we need. We always continue to monitor those claims and see if there's ways we can mitigate the impact on our health plan. One other comment about the financials, there's things we do along the way to protect the finances of the plan. That includes a spousal carve-out, which limits the spouses on our plan if they have access to other affordable coverage. We purchase stop-loss insurance, so that stop-loss insurance covers us at $140,000 for any individual claim. So once any individual claim hits $140,000, that stop-loss insurance is going to pay it from that point on. The stop-loss covers us for $8.2 million for group aggregate. So as a group, if Manitowoc County's claims hit $8.2 million, we hopefully never see that, but the stop-loss insurance will pick that up after that. In addition, we purchase transplant coverage. So transplants are a medical service that can definitely impact a health plan. So we purchase a separate insurance policy that takes that claims risk off of the county. So I just wanted to give you an overview on our health plan and some of the things we do to keep it viable and affordable for our employees. Are there any questions I can answer for you? Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. That was very, very informative. I think it's good when we get informed about some of these topics going on in the county. Okay, next, that will take us to public input. Are there any members of the public who are wishing to speak tonight? Yes. So just remember, public input is limited to 5 minutes, and just please state your name for the record.
Trisha Klein. Do you need my address? Okay, good. All right. As I shared last month, I'm approaching the issue of restoring the Manitowoc County Courthouse from a biblical worldview due to my degrees in biblical studies and philosophy, my minor in psychology, and my 40 years as a biblical counselor. After studying the plan, I established last month that the members of the Manitowoc County Board are shepherds to your tax-paying sheep constituents. By definition, a shepherd is a person who protects, guides, or carefully watches over a person or a group of people. This includes protecting them from getting fleeced or impoverished by unreasonable financial burdens. After studying the plans and expenses for replacing the windows in the courthouse, I was struck by the disparity between the champagne taste of a high-end historical architect's proposal and the unavailable funds to act on their suggestions. As I noted last month, sheep are not beasts of burden. The same is true regarding your constituents in Manitowoc County, who have a median income of approximately $63,000 before taxes. With taxes rising, inflation and unemployment decimating budgets, banks failing, war fronts expanding, 401ks dwindling, pensions being raided, healthcare costs exploding, credit card debt skyrocketing, our borders being invaded, and bankruptcies escalating, and AI wiping out jobs worldwide, do you think it is moral to lay the cost of $16,000 plus per window times 120 on the backs of those who trust you to have their welfare squarely in front of you? While some, about 10%, enjoy a champagne budget that can support champagne taste, the majority, around 90%, are dealing with a beer or water budget. I'm wondering what the reactions have been when you share a cost of replacing 120 windows for $2 million. When I share, the reaction of shock and disbelief would be comical if it wasn't so serious. Invariably, I'm asked, what is wrong with the present windows? When I explain it's about going back to the larger original design for cosmetic reasons, the allowance of more natural light, a little higher R&U rating via new glazing technology, and creating window wells to hide the drop ceiling that was installed to accommodate the HVAC, the usual response has been something to the effect of, "Are you serious?" They also want to know how long it would take for the heat savings to cover the expense of these windows. Needless to say, it is $2 million not in our lifetime or our children's, especially when we consider smaller windows have less glass, less draft, and no window blocks drafts like a wall. Unfortunately, speculative fear tactics run rampant in our governments to scare and manipulate people into supporting projects they reject. We are warned that if projects are not immediately acted upon, they will be more costly in the future. However, due to our present economic unpredictability in the United States and throughout the world, the economic principle of supply and demand is activated. Thus, more goods and services and people want to buy produces savings for those looking to purchase. Example, the automobile industry. Too many vehicles and inflated margins have reduced the pool of buyers, creating good deals for prospective buyers. Like your constituents who are postponing purchases and repairs until they have the funds in their bank accounts, the Manitowoc County Board has the opportunity to do likewise by once again being an example of fiscal responsibility. Doing so would provide further evidence of being good shepherd leaders to your anxious, struggling constituent flocks. I also want to emphasize that I am not suggesting what is broken should be ignored. Quite the opposite. Repair what needs to be repaired, using funds presently existing in the maintenance budget until such a time interest-free and tax-free monies become available. I leave you with the wise counsel of Jesus Christ, the perfect conservative shepherd from Matthew 7:12. So then, in everything, treat others the same way you want them to treat you, for this is the essence of the law and the writings of the prophets. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else looking to speak tonight? Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak? For a third and final time, seeing none, I will close public input. That will take us to appointments by the county executive. First, we have an appointment to the ethics board. This is to reappoint Tom Musial. I'd be looking for a motion. Motion by Supervisor Hanson, second by Supervisor Mink. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the appointment's approved. Next, we're looking to appoint Christy Reynolds to the Joint Dispatch Board. I'd be looking for a motion. Motion by Supervisor Engelbrecht, second by Supervisor Falkowski. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the appointment's approved. That'll take us to committee reports. First, we have the Planning and Park Commission. Supervisor Falkowski.
Is it working? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I have is an announcement. On January 22nd at 3:30 is the advisory committee for the park and planning, and at 4 o'clock the hearing starts. So it's the announcement for the park and planning on January 22nd. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Aging and Disability Board, it looks like Supervisor Wagner and Jadowski are absent. Is there anybody that could give that report? If not, we will move on to the Board of Health. Supervisor Metzger.
We have no report. This last week we didn't have enough for a quorum because of the weather, but we will be meeting February 8th at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening. The meeting of the Manitowoc County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council was January 3rd. First, there was an introduction of Cooper Schmidt, a representative of the Manitowoc Police Department, as the newest council member. First, we heard the report on drug court. There are 17 participants, 2 additional applications pending, and note that the TAD grant, which is the drug court, has been renewed. The next graduation will be January 17th, and for those that were interested in attending. Another agenda item was noted. The Access to Court Committee has not met. A preliminary meeting is to anticipate next month. Next, Stacy Lavinia reported about the Deflection and Diversion Grant Award. The first stages are being scheduled, and the leadership team is to be meeting on February 15th. That grant is for $68,000. Lastly, there was discussion regarding the frequency in which the council should meet. The consensus was to continue the current schedule, which is 4 to 5 times a year. Finally, there was an election of officers and executive committee. They are Chair Judge Rohr, Vice Chair District Attorney LeBray, Jennifer Zick, Ann Larson, and Chief Meinert is the executive committee. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 6th. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. For the executive committee, many of you attended our last executive committee meeting. We met here earlier this month to discuss the courthouse restoration project. You'll see the resolution that we recommended and passed along to finance under our finance section. And then after, the other results of that meeting was that we'll be hosting a committee of the whole after our county board meeting. Next, that'll take us to the Expo Ice Center Board. Supervisor Sikowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board elected Dick Pollen as the board chair, Jeremy Hallwig as the board vice chair, and Matt Pawlowski as the board secretary. The December Rummage Rama sale went very well, and the February 10th Rummage Rama sale has all the tables already reserved. If any county board members are interested in volunteering, please call the Expo office or email Janelle Shelton. And the Expo board also wanted to extend a thank you to Jerome Vetting, the Expo Ice Center board, who retired at the end of 23 for his years of service and dedication that helped to make a successful county fair. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Sikowitz. Supervisor Hanson with Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance Committee met a week ago Monday and got some more property on the tax rolls. We did reject one bid that does not cover our cost. It's a beautiful piece of property overlooking the Manitowoc River. There could be a nice home site, possibly multiple home sites. So we're going to wait and see if we can get a better bid on that piece of property. The main reason for us meeting that night was to discuss the resolution to finance the HVAC and windows at the courthouse. And just a reminder, this does not have any money included for any discovery, taking plaster out of the dome, any of that. This is just to replace the windows and the HVAC system in the courthouse. Most of you, I'm sure, have read the reports on the situation with those two things in the courthouse. HVAC is very old. The windows, if the wind blows the right way, gets the inside of the courthouse pretty wet in quite a few offices. So these are things that need to be done. So saying that, I move that we approve resolution number 1 tonight.
There's a motion and a second by Supervisor Bry, and then I'll open it up for discussion. Is there anybody looking to speak? Supervisor Nato.
I guess the only question I have, Supervisor Hans could probably answer this. How does the bid process work for the windows in the HVAC? Does that go out for bids, and the low bid gets it? Are local contractors included in some of this, or?
Anybody can bid on the project once we secure the money needed. So in a few months we will go and get a loan agreement to borrow this money. That's a few months down the road. I believe JJ told me 2 months before that would happen. And then at that time, when the bids come in, anybody can bid on those, local or not local, but it usually goes to the lowest bidder.
Further clarification, Corp Counsel.
For public works projects, Wisconsin law requires that they be bid, and the bids are awarded to what's characterized as the lowest responsible bidder. Anyone can, of course, bid. Of course, they have to be qualified, and any successful bidder has to be what's characterized as a responsible bidder. And there are certain components that go into that. Broadly speaking, most of the bidders that we find in these types of scenarios, though, are more than qualified, and it ends up coming down to what is most cost effective. And to the extent of timing, I would let if Supervisor Joel has anything else to add to what they're planning on timing for the bid process.
Supervisor Joel, do you have anything to add? I really don't. Okay, thank you. Supervisor Nato, you still have the floor.
I guess my only question is, if you're borrowing money, how do you know how much you're going to borrow? Don't you need to have the bids in before that process starts?
I believe, Jerry? We based the dollar amount on the 2022 strength facility study, and that was estimated by J.D. Cullen, which was can't sign a contract. And also,
sorry. Supervisor Ransom.
As we look at this, and Jerry explains that we have an amount of money that we believe we're going to need. When those bids come in, hopefully they are lower than what we now understand the cost of the project is. We can't go for bids until we have money to pay for that also. So we can't go to, say, send us a bid on replacement of the HVAC system unless we have funds to pay for that. But go ahead if there's more clarification for that.
I guess what I was going to say is that the amount that's in the resolution was based on the study that Strang Architects did in 2022. That dollar amount was put together by J.P. Cullen, who is a contractor who does projects just like this. It was inflation adjusted for 2024. And we also went locally. We went to a company in Sheboygan that furnishes and installs these type of windows, and we had them estimate what it would cost. We had to add the cost of demolition, asbestos abatement, engineering, and we feel that the dollar amount that's in the resolution is going to be ample. As you'll notice, built into that is also a 10% contingency. So we're confident, and this is just the way government works. It would be it would be strange, at least for Manitowoc County, to not borrow the money before they got the bids. We always get the cart a little bit before the horse, but our track record is good. I don't recall one project in my 30 years where we ever had to come back to the county board and say, we need more money. Thank you.
While we have Jerry up here, are there any questions for Jerry that maybe we could ask at this time? Supervisor Benke.
Yeah, Jerry, just quickly on those bids, we talked about the pockets and raising the window back to its original height. How are we bidding that out? Both ways or going all the way up?
We, the recommendation that was made by the ad hoc committee was to bid both ways.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any other questions at this time? Supervisor Phipps.
Jerry, could you just clarify, so one way would be to replace the windows as they are, and the other way would be to make the windows taller and bigger, and those are the two different bids that we're asking for, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And when we say bigger, it's the opening of the window is in the stone. We're not opening the stone up, we're not making bigger windows than the original opening, but some of the ceilings do extend below that opening, so that would be either base bid or alternate, one or the other.
Are there any other questions? Supervisor Klein.
Exact number of the 120 windows that need actual replacement as we speak or that are broken?
I do not, no.
Do you have an estimate? Is it 75%, 25%, 10%?
100% of the windows are the same age. The entire west elevation has taken the worst of the weather over the last 50 years and are in the worst condition, but they're all in a state, they're just aged. And I can't give you there's 48 that are leaking and 37 that are have lost their seal. I don't have that number.
Is it possible to find that out? I mean, if we found out that there were 10 windows or 20 windows that needed to be fixed or replaced, that might make a big difference in terms of how much money we would be spending.
That's true.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Supervisor Phipps.
Did we ever explore the possibility of using a different bidding or engineering firm to reduce some of our costs, or is that kind of just built in with what we did already?
No, that's exactly what we did. That was the recommendation of the ad hoc committee, that they break this large project up into two projects. The dome itself is a very complex project. It's specialized. Windows and HVC are not. Those are projects that local engineering firms can handle. We don't have to go to an out-of-town firm. So what we did was interviewed 3 firms we had success with on our courthouse. Found one that has worked with the State Historical Society, and they came in at the most competitive price. So we went local and went with the lowest cost for projects that are really basic projects. It's a window replacement and an HVAC replacement project. Things we do every day, just not at this scale.
Who's the engineer that we
It's
went with?
it's Legacy Architecture out of Sheboygan, and their engineering firm is MSA. It was Marmon Engineering out of Kiel, but they're now MSA.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Jerry. I can't promise there won't be any more, but we appreciate you coming up and answering our questions. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the initial resolution authorizing general obligation courthouse improvement bonds in an amount not to exceed $4,075,000.
And the resolution is adopted with three quarters of the county board voting in majority. Supervisor Hanson, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for the support on that resolution. And we'll move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Highway Committee, Supervisor Benke.
I have no report. We will meet February 13th at 4 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Human Services Board, Supervisor Bry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No report.
Thank you, Supervisor Bry. Land Conservation and UW Extension. Supervisor Wagner is not here. Supervisor Phipps.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. I do not have a report. Our next meeting is on the 18th of this month at 4:45. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel Committee, Supervisor Marsh.
Thank you. We met right before this meeting, and I have a resolution establishing elected officials' compensation for the county clerk, register of deeds, and treasurer. I so move.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Supervisor Niles, any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution establishing elected officials' compensation, county clerk, register of deeds, and treasurer.
And the resolution is adopted. You have the floor.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be before the county board meeting in February, whether it's at the 20th or 27th.
We'll be making a determination on that.
Right, and it'll be at 5:30. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee met on January 10th. We started with the introduction of James Lillibridge, the newest committee member. We acknowledged the receipt for the corrections report and other departments' financials. On our agenda that day was a reporting from the emergency management. Rhonda Green, Emergency Service Director, gave the department update and reporting. Currently, they are working on updates to the business contingency plans covering any hazard material emergency releases. Ms. Green introduced Brendan Riley, the Deputy Director, who had augmented the department reporting. The hazard mitigation plan update is in focus. Several grants are being closed out, the emergency management programs, the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act. Both Director Green and Mr. Riley are involved with the community outreach to provide educational information to all for emergency conditions. Director Green is scheduled for a radio appearance and as well as the department's outreach to community agencies. It was discussed that both were required to complete the Wisconsin Emergency Management Certification within 2 years of hire. Ms. Green is certified and Mr. Riley is near to his completion. There will be a scheduled upcoming conference in Dallas regarding nuclear readiness. Other reports, the committee discussed how emergencies are addressed with those in needs and greater attention. There is a use of a database that is described as how assistance is directed. Also, the UAS, the unmanned aircraft system, the drone, has been used in various incidents. Also noted that the new FAA regulations the department is now in compliance with. Under preparedness, an evaluation to review the supervisors and the employees in awareness for a variety of emergency responses is undergoing. A future possible discussion could be the review of the current emergency plan for the Heritage Building, during which the county board is meeting and also the members of the people attending. Our next public safety meeting is scheduled for February 14th with the district attorney's office. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Falkowski. Next, we have the Transportation Coordinating Committee. Oh, I'm sorry, Public Works. I didn't mean to skip you, Supervisor Jarrell.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Public Works met Wednesday, January 10th.
We approved the minutes. There were no donations or ethics reports, no public comment. We started with an annual update by UWGB Manitowoc Campus CEO Jamie Schramm. Schramm updated the committee on the facility status as well as enrollment numbers, initiatives, and community outreach happening at the campus. It would probably interest all of us to know that the enrollment is up out there, and they're having great success with the Rising Phoenix program, where high school students can go to college at the same time that are going to high school, and it's an opportunity for them to get a jump on their collegiate education and save quite a bit of money along with it. So that program is doing really well here. We discussed and reviewed the solid waste and recycling division and discussed the drug disposal program for 2023. It's interesting, we collected 2,056 pounds of medications in the 2023 program, and Wisconsin led the nation in drug collections with 53,000 pounds. So when you look at the map of all of the states and where we stand, it's really very impressive, the job we do for keeping this stuff out of the environment. So we reviewed and discussed the building and grounds division and our capital projects. There were no pay requests. We had a couple of projects. One was the Human Services Hamilton Street Building HVAC condensing unit and coil replacement out for bid, and that went to the low bidder of Schaus Mechanical for $33,560. And we had the law enforcement center makeup air unit replacement, and that also went to the low bidder Schaus Mechanical at $27,286. We discussed the courthouse dome renovation project and the windows and HVAC project that we just discussed and approved the money for. We reviewed and discussed the communications division and capital projects going on there, the information technology division and operation projects. We discussed the cybersecurity initiatives, the Expo Ice Center division activities, and the finance director's Expo Special Revenue Fund report. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Droll. Now we'll go to the Transportation Coordinating Committee, Supervisor Hacker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next meeting of the Transportation Coordinating Committee is January 31st, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Announcements, just to let you know, after this we will be having our Committee of the Whole meeting where we will discuss the Courthouse Dome Restoration Project. We are going to take a 5-minute break in between meetings. Just so everybody's aware. With that, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Motion by Supervisor Mink,